Now it is my distinct honor to introduce our California Labor Secretary, Julie Su.
Kelly, thank you so much, and thank you for your extraordinary leadership in all of this work. I want to thank all of our partners, today's speakers, and all the attendees for joining us today as we officially announce the launch of this game-changing, first of its kind, this innovative regional collaboration among industry, academia, community-based organizations, and apprenticeship intermediary, and the state of California will assist our Inland Empire employers in securing a highly skilled and 21st century workforce and provide access to good paying, high quality jobs for people in the region. Through a robust registered apprenticeship framework, this effort lays the foundation for viable career pathways into in-demand IT cybersecurity roles. It supports equity and inclusion, and it strengthens alliances and workforce systems, building on the enormous assets in the Inland Empire and connecting them so that we better realize their full potential. We believe that this regional apprenticeship initiative is a model that can be replicated in regions across our state. So today's event is about community, about good jobs, and about improving lives. Over this last difficult year, Californians have come together and made sacrifices, efforts that have saved lives and have also made California the state with the lowest COVID transmission rates in the nation. But those sacrifices, like the effects of the pandemic itself, were not borne equally. As we recover together as a state, we have to address the inequities, including racial, gender, and regional inequities that predated the pandemic and that were made worse by it. This important initiative is one way to address those inequities head on. Since he came into office, Governor Newsom has prioritized a regional approach to meeting the needs of all Californians, knowing that one size doesn't fit all. And he has made equity and inclusion, making sure that no one is left out of the state's prosperity, a top priority. That's why this initiative matters to him, and we're going to hear about that now directly from him.
Thank you all for the opportunity to join you today, and congratulations on this impressive launch. You know, through the IE, Cybersecurity Apprenticeship Initiative, we're showing the rest of the world that California's innovation economy stretches throughout our state and provides all Californians with opportunities to succeed. You know, from an international supplier you know well of geographic information system software, Esri, to a healthcare and teaching institution you know equally well, Loma Linda Health, these impressive organizations, they're signing on to this game-changing, first of its kind regional apprenticeship consortium that's going to put people to work and assist regional employers in securing the highly skilled workforce they so desperately need. You know, we anticipate this will train and put 500 to about 1,000 folks on the job in the IE over the course of just the next 2 to 3 years. This shows what can be done when employers, workers, educational institutions, and government come together to solve real world problems. And it's exactly why our California Comeback Plan includes investments like this in building these bridges and investing in all of our regions. So congratulations again on being the first regional cybersecurity apprenticeship initiative in our state. And I hope you'll all enjoy the rest of the event.
Thank you so much, Governor. And as an additional sign of how important this is to us, we are also joined by two key members of the governor's office today. Molly Wiltshire, who is the governor's Southern California Director of External Affairs, who is actually based in the Inland Empire and from the Inland Empire, and also Karina Tamayo, the governor's Southern California Regional Coordinator. And I'm also really pleased to welcome staff from the offices of Senator Roth, Senator Leyva, and Senator Ochoa Bogg, as well as Assembly Member McCarthy's office. So thank you all for being with us as well. To start us off, I want to introduce Alma Laura and Gabriel Navarro Terrazas, both shining examples of the talent in the IE. Both are the children of immigrants, And both of them are beneficiaries of the kinds of investments and innovations that we're going to talk about today. So I'm going to start with Alma. Alma, you've lived in Moreno Valley for most of your life. You went to high school here. Tell us a little bit about your path after high school.
Yeah, so after I got my high school diploma, I didn't really think too much about higher education. I started working at a warehouse when I was 19, and I stayed there for about 5 years. And I guess I got comfortable there. But I kind of entered a dark time in my life where I lost that job, and I was kind of lost in life. So when I turned 27, I gave birth to my son, becoming a single mom, which kind of gave me the motivation to get back on track with my life. So I started working at another warehouse part-time and thought I could take some classes at Moreno Valley College to better myself and still have time to be home for my son. All I've known is warehouse work, and I know that's something I do not want to do for the rest of my life. I was a little lost as to what I wanted to study, but I knew it was in the field of IT. So I saw they had a program, a certificate for computer programming at NBC, so I started following that path. And then not too long after, they put out another set of certificates in the paths of cybersecurity and IT. So I decided to follow that path instead. Because you'd always hear people talk about cybersecurity and how important it is, but honestly, I wasn't too familiar with, the basic workings of it. But as I started taking courses, I realized like there's just so much I didn't know and so much to learn from it. And I just wanted to be a part of that. Because it's not just systems that you're like helping protect and defend, like behind it, you're also protecting and defending people. And there's, so many out there that don't really have a full understanding on how technology works and kind of makes them a target for people with malicious intent. So I kind of want to be a part of that, to helping protect those people.
Oh, Alma, that's such a beautiful way to talk about the importance of cybersecurity, right? It's not just information and data, it's really about people. How did you first hear about becoming an apprentice?
So I first heard about it through my professor during fall 2020, because I was already taking courses for my certificate. And I was pretty excited when I first heard about it and how it would work. I even remember telling my sister, like, hey, this is exactly what I needed personally in my life. And originally, I just wanted to complete the certificate and start working in the field. But honestly, I didn't know how I was going to get my foot in the door, because I know a lot of entry-level positions people ask for experience, and it's something I do not have. So that's why I was so excited about this program, because it would help me accomplish what I wanted, but also guide me throughout the process.
Oh, that's amazing. Alma, tell us more about what's special about being an apprentice.
So I guess my favorite part would be that you get hands-on experience as to what you're learning, like whatever you learn in class, you apply that. And you have a mentor who's already successful in the field, kind of guiding you throughout the whole thing. I believe it's extremely important to get that experience, because it's one thing to learn the course material in like a classroom environment versus actually applying that knowledge to real life situations. So I feel if I would have followed this path on my own, it would have been a lot more difficult for me, because I'd have to do all these things separately as far as like supporting my son, paying tuition, attending classes, trying to get hands-on experience, and then still have time for my son. But I've learned so much throughout, taking my courses from, different types of attacks, how to counter them, how these attacks work. We've done some projects like, I didn't know how to program before, but we did like our own Python program. We even did like digital forensics investigations reports, and also encouraged by professors to attend the National Cyber League to gain, a little bit more experience. And all these things I didn't know I was capable of learning or doing any of these things. So at the end of the month, I will begin working as an apprentice with the city of Moreno Valley, and I'm so excited for that opportunity. And I feel like since everyone is working together as far as like employer, school, and student, like the apprenticeship employer, they work around my class schedule, and I'm still getting paid, and I still have time to be home for my son, without it being too stressful. So I'm honestly so grateful for everyone that has made this happen. And it couldn't have come at a better time in my life. And I feel like it's given me the opportunity to do something that I didn't think was possible.
Thank you so much, Alma, for speaking so personally about it, I think the idea that an opportunity lets you see what you were capable of that you didn't know is just, it's so powerful and so important. And you're really showing us how apprenticeship programs align education, on-the-job training, and access to an actual good job with the ability to support your family. And it's just really inspirational to hear about your path. We see that apprenticeship programs are popular with moms, including single moms who need some flexibility for childcare and who would otherwise have to choose between stopping work to get an education, which you can't afford, as you said, or working in a job that doesn't match with your needs and talent and passions. And particularly since the impact of the pandemic has fallen so heavily on women, on those who had to choose between their careers and childcare, and on people of color, your story really drives home how apprenticeships are life-changing. So thank you. Gabriel, you were born and raised in the IE. You are a high school junior, so you are, what, 17? What do you know about cybersecurity and how do you know it?
Yes, I was raised in the IE, and I am a 6-year-old high school junior at Summit High School in the Fontana Unified School District. And at this point in my education, I know the intricacies that are required to succeed in the cybersecurity field. And since I always loved technology as a child, learning through the career technical education program and by self-studying, it was no chore. It was actually quite satisfying, and I enjoyed it. In elementary school, I learned about the Apollo missions and developed a passion for physics and mathematics. And I always knew I was good at technology. And when I got into high school, the STEM program looked like a promising route to enter the physics and maths field. I started to compete in cybersecurity competitions, and the more experience I gained through the competitions, I knew I had to incorporate the skills I learned from the pathway and from self-studying. And I came to the conclusion that to pursue computational theoretical physics, to merge the best from physics with the best from cybersecurity, utilizing the same skills I spent my years in high school refining.
Wow. Gabriel, tell me a little bit more about those competitions.
So for the past 3 years, I've been competing in cybersecurity competitions, which range from Pico CTF, which is a capture the flag event, or to most notably Cyber Patriot and Skills USA. I began my involvement in this field in freshman year when I joined my school's STEM program, and I began competing in Cyber Patriot first. The program itself splits into 3 different routes. There's ethical hacking, mechatronics, and game development, but the one that I focused on was ethical hacking, which is geared specifically towards cybersecurity. Student involvement consists of preparing for cybersecurity certifications, as well as preparing for competitions that will give us an outlet to refine our skills learned and give us experience against others and how involvement in the world of cybersecurity would be like. In competition, you get the opportunity to present your skills in front of thousands of other competitors, and to come on top is so exciting. And it just justifies all the hard work that went into studying beforehand and all the stress. The scariest part of the competitions really would be the minutes before you actually start competing, when you're not sure what exactly you're going to encounter in the competition, and all the stress just accumulates in those minutes before. Another exhilarating feature of those competitions will be traveling to places in order to compete and seeing all the other competitions that are occurring. For example, with Skills USA, normally I was able to, before the pandemic, I was able to meet people competing in robotics competitions and such, and have conversations with them on the topics that they're devoted to. Additionally, all the teamwork and companionship during the competitions is really nice. And it brings me and my team together to trust each other and perform even better in the following competitions.
It's just so amazing, Gabriel. Like there's the cybersecurity skills, then there's all the people skills and the, working under stress skills. It's just amazing. I do want everyone to know that Gabriel is ranked 121st globally in cybersecurity competition. He's also won the gold in regionals the last 2 years in the Skills USA cybersecurity competition, and silver in state this year. And his high school, Summit High School, swept this year at the Cyber Cup, coming in first place. Gabriel, as you've shared with me, these competitions lead to industry recognized certifications. Tell us a little bit about that.
Okay, so by participating in competitions, you can really get prepared for the certifications necessary in the cybersecurity field, where let's say a competition like Cyber Patriot, it would contain the core material necessary for CompTIA and CompTIA Plus certifications. And depending on the ranking and rigor of the challenge, you could even dive into material in Security Plus and Network Plus, which is done in Skills USA. This connects directly to how prepared you are to dive into the cybersecurity field.
Wow, wow. Gabriel, thank you so much. Part of our goal today in this event is to highlight the need for more opportunities so all students with the passion and drive to do so can participate in these exciting and rewarding competitions and see a pathway to these high-paying and rewarding jobs. Any high school student who wants to participate should not be limited because of a lack of resources in the school districts or lack of mentorship or by their ethnic, racial, gender, or socioeconomic background or by the high school that they attend. Clearly, these competitions are impactful. Gabriel, you've shared them in such a vivid way. Thank you for that. The competitions really also show some outcomes, right? In that high school students who participate often have a better chance of moving into academic pathways that lead to cybersecurity careers. And I just want to acknowledge the Fontana Unified School District's investments in students, along with amazing young people like you, Gabriel. You're not only changing individual lives through your work, but you are changing the face of cybersecurity. So Gabriel has also been selected, I'm going to brag on you just a little bit more, Gabriel, for the MIT MOSTEC, MOSTEC program this summer. It's for rising seniors where he'll get to take courses at MIT. And as a high school student, he has dual enrollment with Chaffey Community College. And he's on track to receive an associate's in mathematics before he graduates from high school. Gabriel's parents are naturalized US citizens who did not graduate from high school. So Alma and Gabriel's stories really show the assets in the Inland Empire. The people like Alma and Gabriel with their enormous talent and their potential, which we have the ability to nurture and grow and keep in the IE where they can continue to improve and give to their communities. Also the educational programs from K through 12 to community college, and we'll hear more about those education institutions today, and also apprenticeships. This is about how we invest in young people like Alma and Gabriel so they can go as far as their dreams will take them. And today we're going to talk about how we dramatically expand apprenticeship opportunities to meet employer needs, to create openings and pathways, and to expand racial and gender equity so there can be many more stories like Alma and Gabriel's. So Alma and Gabriel, thank you so, so much. To make this happen, we need employer partners. All the training in the world, all the certificates are not going to build a strong economy or security for individuals and their families if we don't have good jobs. We have 5 Inland Empire employers in this regional cybersecurity apprenticeship initiative, and they are all here today. I'm going to introduce them and have them just say one sentence about themselves before we dive in with each of them a little bit more deeply. So I'm going to start with Robert Half, a Fortune 500 global human resources consulting firm that offers business services and staffing solutions to companies all over the world. David Araldi is the Managing Director for Strategic Accounts and Public Sector Industry. David, in one sentence, how does this initiative align with Robert Half as a global organization?
Thanks, Secretary Sue. Robert Half is so appreciative to be involved with this initiative. As a 73-year-old specialized staffing firm headquartered in California, one of our core values that has remained timeless is embracing an openness to new ideas. And so we see the gap of skilled labor in professional occupations like cybersecurity as a global issue. And this initiative in the IE, as well as across California, aligns so well with us and helping make a difference.
Thanks, David. Looking forward to talking with you today more. Next is Esri, a world leader in mapping software, using location intelligence to solve everything from climate change to hunger to economic growth. And Brian Cross is Esri's Director of Professional Services. Brian, in one sentence, what is Esri's experience as a local tech company native to the Inland Empire?
Well, hi, Secretary Sue. Thank you for having us, and we're really excited to be in this program. I guess I would say, as a local tech company, we are just super excited to participate and believe strongly in building pathways for talented local students to really make an impact. Simply put, we want to look local first, and this is a great way to do it.
Excellent. Thank you, Brian. Next is Converge One. Converge One is a leading IT services provider of collaboration and technology solutions for large and medium-sized organizations. And Stephen Monteros is the Regional Vice President, Public Sector. Stephen, what's your one-sentence statement about why you got involved in this apprenticeship initiative?
Mainly for need, and thank you, Secretary Sue. Threats have changed. I mean, the last 5 years, we've seen threats we never thought would exist, and things have evolved so quickly. And as these threats continue to evolve so quickly, the workforce needs to basically evolve as quickly. And when you start to get involved in these apprenticeship programs, you can more quickly put people in the field to face, basically you have better troops to fight the bad guys. So the way we look at it is there's a lot of black hats out there. Our job is to find as many white hats as possible and for them to get them on the front lines as quickly as possible. And like I said, we're pleased to be part of this program.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Stephen. So our next is Loma Linda University Health. And I imagine what Stephen said resonates with you, Dr. Hart. Hospitals are concerned about cybersecurity, both because the financial threat is real, but also there's a even more acute impact on human lives and well-being, as disrupted health records can critically affect the vital care of patients. This has been particularly true during the last year as COVID has ravaged so many of our hospitals. And so we're so pleased to have the president of Loma Linda University Health, Dr. Richard Hart. Dr. Hart, tell us what drew you to greenlight this apprenticeship initiative for your healthcare organization.
Well, for a number of years, thank you for inviting us. For a number of years, Loma Linda has run pipeline programs for both high school and college graduates to expose them to the health professions. About 10 years ago, we started management residency programs, 2-year programs, to prepare new college graduates with the skills to work in various aspects. Then about 5 years ago, we started our San Manuel Gateway College for high school graduates to get into the health professions. So when the cybersecurity issue came up, we were well aware of the value of apprenticeship, the value of local training, and so are delighted to participate in this program and add these tracks into the programs that we already have on campus.
Great. Thank you, Dr. Hart. And our last employer is the County of Riverside. Riverside County is the 10th largest county in the United States, home to 2.4 million residents and over 70,000 businesses. County agencies that serve those residents and businesses rely on the Information Security Office to protect and maintain their information and IT assets. And Riverside County's Workforce Development Division is among those agencies. And I know also administers programs under the Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act, or WIOA. Heidi Marshall is the county's Director of Housing and Workforce. Heidi, in your one sentence, please tell us why the county was so supportive and all in on joining this game-changing apprenticeship initiative.
Thank you, Secretary Sue, for including the County of Riverside in this important program. Cybersecurity is the #1 priority in the IT world here at the County of Riverside today and into the foreseeable future. Hiring staff at all levels are trained with a cybersecurity background and expertise is a growing challenge, and this program is going to be a huge step towards helping us fill the skills gaps. That's why we're here as a partner with you.
Thank you very, very much, Heidi. Wonderful. So I'm going to go back now to Robert Half. David, Robert Half assists employers in securing highly skilled workers, including IT and cybersecurity professionals. And you've always recruited and provided training to these employees. How does a registered apprenticeship program elevate your ability to do what you were already doing?
Thanks, Secretary. We see the apprenticeship program as an example of our commitment to innovation as a leader in staffing and recruitment for highly skilled professional service occupations. And we believe this program will enhance the hats we wear, if you will, with our customers as a career coach, as a labor consultant, and as a business advisor. And we see the apprenticeship initiative really elevating our customer experience in 3 key ways. The first is the depth and breadth of our customer base. Our customers reflect the overall economy in terms of the mix of large, medium, and small businesses, as well as the full spectrum of public sector and governmental organizations. And our brand and reach in the Inland Empire, as well as throughout California, will allow for accelerated adoption of these programs across the business community. Our early stage involvement and conversations with the business community suggests that this program has high interest and potential to expand with other geographies across California and beyond. The second piece of that is career support. The apprenticeship model complements the full career support we provide our candidates, often starting the relationship a few years into their careers and then supporting them through changes in their life or sometimes helping them with their next chapter of their career or even helping them solve a problem when they become a client. The apprenticeship, with the apprenticeship, we can bring our labor market expertise to professionals on the early stages of development to help them expand the supply of the workforce in occupations like cybersecurity, helping the businesses and public sector organizations tap a deeper candidate base to meet their hiring needs and to address the cyber threats they face. And third, we see this elevating DEI initiatives and our ongoing commitment to ethics first. This is another core value of ours. It's manifested in treating businesses, job seekers, and our own teams fairly and transparently. This guides those efforts and are supported with accolades from firms like Forbes, who just named us #1 in best professional recruiting and staffing, as well as best employer recognition for women and diversity. And we see the Apprenticeship Consortium as an effective way to expand public-private programs that focus on underrepresented communities and career advancement opportunities in these dynamic fields. The net impact will serve as a DEI accelerator, if you will, for many businesses seeking to increase diversity and inclusivity in developing and retaining talent and supporting their surrounding communities. Thank you.
No, thank you so much. I love everything you said, from the need to support workers at different stages of their lives, including through changes. Also, what you said about expanding right beyond the region. And I just want to pick up on what you were just saying here about diversity and inclusion. We all know, everybody has said, as is rightly being said, that even before COVID, women and people of color faced greater barriers, and the pandemic has made that worse. And we also know that they are underrepresented in tech. So, David, I would love to hear you expand a little bit on the best practices that you think have assisted your organization to accomplish this goal in the award-winning way that you have.
Thanks, Secretary. I would probably add maybe 2 or 3 items there. One being, it's a global issue. But just how Governor Newsom mentioned, you tackle that by regions. And our organization keeps our teams clustered in those communities, and over the decades have found it very rewarding by building relationships with associations and other nonprofits and organizations that are very specific to inclusive of different groups. And when we see programs like this that can add program outreach, federal funding and state funding to help expand that outreach, it really ignites the passion of our teams. They really love the idea of helping to encourage people, no matter what their backgrounds, and digging deeper into communities that may have been underserved, in being afforded pathways to find a career, an education, a certification, all this, and then to be able to have that to go and work for a small, medium-sized, or big company in their community or beyond. We see over the years that our investment in those types of programs has really helped accelerate exposure to folks like that, and we see this program as really just enhancing that.
Oh, that's so great, David. Thank you. I mean, you're it's sort of, you're building on the success you've already had, and also realize the potential of stronger bridges, especially in the region, right, to enhance the ability to do that. And we're just very, very grateful to have you as a partner, and to see you expand apprenticeships as one part of your business model. I'm going to move to Brian. Brian, recruitment is also key for Esri. Can you talk about your recruitment strategies for IT cybersecurity roles, and how getting apprentice candidates specifically from CSU San Bernardino Cyber Center will strengthen your outcomes, including your commitment to equity and keeping talent in the region?
Yeah, thanks, Secretary Sue. Let me start with just a little bit of context about who we are that might be helpful. So, for those of you that don't know Esri, we're a software company born and bred here in Redlands, California, founded by the Dangermans in 1969. And we've really become the leaders in our field. We actually invented the industry that people call the acronym GIS, or Geographic Information Systems, which is really smart maps that help people make better decisions. And you've seen it in action with even the pandemic. We have about 2,300 employees in Redlands out of about 5,000 in the US. We're one of the largest privately held software companies in the country. And we're really proud to be based here in the Inland Empire. And if you look at California, that's not done enough. So we're really happy to represent. But when we think about cybersecurity as a software company, it is really essential. It is mission critical for us and becoming more so every day. Whether we're securing our software proactively or helping our users consult with them on how to implement software in the most secure way, to managing our own company and the threats that we face every day. There's a lot to think about, and we have huge needs. So getting to your question about recruitment strategies, right now, frankly, we have to look all over the country to try to find the talent that we need that's prepared and ready. And we're doing our best to do that, but we're still short. So this is a complete win-win for us. We are delighted to be able to support the local talent pool and really look in our own backyard. And because it's an apprentice program, we think we can make it much more practical and hands-on and really help our community and the students in our community understand what it means to work in software and cybersecurity. When we step back though and look at this in the lens of diversity and inclusion, it adds another dimension which we think is really important. I guess as I've said, we're super invested in our local community, and we really want to build relationships here. This program is a great way for us to strengthen our relationships and commitment to all of the others on this call, and the universities and the programs and the students themselves. And we'd really like to be a model for tech companies setting up in inland California, as I said before. And when we think about diversity and inclusion, we really want to represent the communities in which we work. And we can do more and we can do better there. And this program is a great way to help that happen. The second way we think about diversity and inclusion is to think about how to make the whole industry more diverse. As the industry leader, we have the opportunity to partner with universities across the country in bringing GIS, geography, cybersecurity programs to the fold in a more mainstream way and have a more diverse workforce in the entire field that we support. So a lot there, but that's in a nutshell what we're looking to.
No, it's so great, Brian, and I will just thank you. I've learned so much from conversations with you and your colleagues and leaders in your company about something I didn't know anything about. So it's really fascinating and really amazing. And I also really appreciate the point about, this is a win for the company. It's also a win for the region, and everybody's here today because we care about the Inland Empire, we care about the region, we care about economic growth and avoiding the brain drain, right, of folks like Alma and Gabriel, right, who grow up here, who get educated here, who have so much to contribute, and can we help them find their dream job here, right here at home, right, so that in a community they love, in a community they grew up in, with their friends, family, and how does that benefit the local economy and the region that you're in. So that's extraordinarily helpful. So you also mentioned, your commitment to diversity in the workforce. This is something that we're just really passionate about. The governor is, I am, here in the state of California, we know we have a lot of work to do. Tell me a little bit more about your Esri's initiatives to develop a more diverse workforce and how you think the apprenticeship program can build on those important efforts.
Yeah, it's a great question. We really feel that we need to instill the understanding at beginning as early in education as we can about the importance of geography and in the STEM fields in general. So comparing geography, computer science, cybersecurity at high school, in college, will really prepare the workforce to enter and represent the broader community that we want to see represented in the field. So in many ways, Esri's first strategy is to work locally with universities. And we've done that in geography departments since 1969. We need to do that in related fields like cybersecurity. So this is a great opportunity. And it's in keeping with our own philosophy of build a community that can get interested in this new tech frontier and then be welcomed into the workforce, where we're dying to have more candidates that we can bring in of all backgrounds and all experiences, so that we can A, give opportunities to them, and B, help our company be better and more competitive.
That's so great. Thank you, Brian. And we're going to hear more about your partnerships with the local college in the area too. So thank you so much. Stephen, can you talk about some of the in-demand IT cyber roles in your organization, and what indicators do you look for when hiring new talent that may not have all the minimum work experience or academic requirements? Alma talked about this a little bit, right? Like, how does somebody get a foot in the door? I've certainly seen that there's people, we all know, right? Some have connections and networks and advantages at the outset, and others don't even know that a certain job exists. Can you talk about who makes the best apprenticeship candidates and how that might be different from what we usually think of as the most qualified candidate?
So being that the threats on the cyber side are just so difficult to deal with right now, people always say, well, you want to start at the top, but that's not necessarily the case. And when you look at cyber, understanding of networks and topologies and how data moves provides the best possible candidates. So when we look for people, especially people, we're not going to necessarily find people that are experts in some of these threats because they're constantly evolving. So what we look for are people that have basic network knowledge, have gone through some of, like Gabriel talked about, some of the A+ programs, some of like the Cisco Academy programs, and they understand how data transfers. They understand how people get in, they understand postures on a base level. And as we bring them in, we'll bring them in training on the networking. We'll put them in the depot. We'll have them work on cutovers at night for some of our larger customers. And I mean, we've got about 4,000 employees nationwide. Almost 1,000 or 1,200 of them are just field engineers that already do these types of work. But the base knowledge on networking, how data is handled, is really what we're looking for. And a lot of this, we don't expect you to know everything, but know these basics. We can put you to work, and we'll train you on these threats. And you'll get to work with quite a few skilled people, and you'll be doing some very, very interesting work. So when I tell somebody to start, or when they're starting, just get involved, understand what's going to happen, volunteer to do cutovers at night, volunteer to get involved in projects, and there's plenty of opportunity. It's just a question of a lot of it just rolling up your sleeves. And if you're going to roll up your sleeves, you want to put the work in, I think your future is pretty much guaranteed.
Yeah, thanks for referring to Gabriel too. He mentioned these cybersecurity credentials, right? And they are meant to be portable. They're also highly coveted by employers. And can you talk a little bit about some of those industry recognized credentials? And also maybe tie in, what Gabriel described demonstrates that there's also a lot of soft skills that you develop through experiences in finding your path and going through these competitions. Can you talk a little bit about both the credentials and also the kind of importance of the soft skills, teamwork and operating under stress and problem solving?
So in the first area of the credentials, what you really look for are, first of all, when resumes come in, they all look fairly similar. So what sets people apart are those that got involved earlier, those that enter into competitions, those that go through Cyber Patriot, that goes through the Cisco CCNA program, that goes through the full A+ suite. They went ahead and they've taken Python, and they've learned the base skills. First of all, they understand what the base skills are going to look like. They've also demonstrated that they've gone above and beyond. Now, I get to see some pretty amazing resumes. We're very active in supporting these competitions. A lot of the high schools around here, they get a fair amount of funding from us because we're really investing in our own future. And I get to see some pretty amazing students that go through these programs. But getting involved, going through the certs, if you can add one more cert that no one else has, that's going to stand out. Because we don't expect you to have experience, but we do expect you to put some work in, and we do expect you to get involved. And this is a way you can demonstrate this.
Great.
Now, on soft skills, because we deal with a fair number, I think 100 of the Fortune 500s deal with Converge One or work with us on different projects. So we have a lot invested in putting you in front of a customer. So as an engineer, if your skills are terrible and you offend people, or you don't know what to say and you don't know how to act professionally, we have a lot riding on this, and we can lose a lot of business. So we look for people, and this is one thing that I've noticed in some of the cyber competitions. They do start to test them on soft skills. They do test their presentation skills. They test their delivery. If they're confident and competent, these are things you want to develop, and you develop this through an apprenticeship program. As I mentioned earlier, the apprenticeship program I really like because it combines a practical element with a school element. And when you get these developed together, it provides a well-rounded and a stronger individual.
Well, that's great. Exactly. And, one of the many strengths of the registered apprenticeship model is the customization feature, right? Like, we are talking about skills needed in an industry, but there's also specific skills that employers look for, and apprenticeships allow for that. It allows employers to integrate training that leads to apprentices, getting specific credentials that you believe are needed, including digital badges and certificates and the like. Do you plan to offer credential training for your apprentices?
So I think there's enough training out there. And I think with the digital badges, I mean, I think the state of California has done a wonderful job. I think the schools have done a wonderful job. So, I mean, when I look at what they're doing, and they bring us in to advise on some of these programs, I think they're doing an awesome job. So it's just, okay, thumbs up, just keep doing what you're doing, and keep bringing us people. We'll do what we're doing, and we'll fight these problems together.
That's great. That's great. Thank you very much, Stephen. Dr. Hart, we've already talked about this a little bit. A resilient and highly skilled cybersecurity workforce is especially critical for healthcare institutions like yours. Can you speak a little bit about that?
Well, for a number of years, hospitals and clinics, healthcare in general, has certainly used software to manage finances, inventory control, payroll, and so on. What's changed in our industry in the last decade is that now patient records are also all digital as well. Almost all hospitals, many doctors' offices now are on what we call EHRs, electronic health records. What that means is that your entire life, not just your demographic data, but what lab tests you had, what your cholesterol was, what your x-ray showed, all of that is on this one platform. And so the risk to managing people's lives and health is acute, because without that record, when I go to clinic and dial in, I can look at everybody's record, where they've been seen, what they've happened, and so on. Without that, most of us are lost. So that's been the challenge in the last few years, is that those systems, and we're pleased actually in the Inland Empire here, Loma Linda, Riverside University Health System, and SAC Health System, our community clinics, are all on the same platform. So if a patient is seen in Riverside, they come next and see me or see a doctor here at Loma Linda, I can dial in and see what happened over there. So it's incredibly valuable to be able to follow a person's care and integrate that. It's also very cost effective, because instead of repeating a test that I don't know the result for, I can look it up and find it. But what that means is that our own 17,000 employees, and all throughout the system, all the employees, each of them touch that record, have the potential to touch that record every day. And so the whole issue of cybersecurity and how to manage that becomes acutely important, not just for financial management and security reasons, but for actual patient care. So that's a challenge that we face in healthcare, is how do we do that most effectively? We get many, there's a particular hacker groups that go after hospitals because they think they're more vulnerable. Some of you may be aware, Scripps Health System got hacked about 3 weeks ago. They are still digging themselves out of the impact of this. So it happens frequently across this country, and it's something that we are very concerned about.
Yeah, absolutely. Dr. Hart, apprenticeship programs also offer employers the opportunity to upskill your own incumbent workforce, in addition to bringing in outside candidates. And David talked about this when he started us off about supporting employees at changes in life, including existing workers who are already maybe in IT. Do you plan to offer apprenticeship opportunities to both existing employees who may want to move into an in-demand IT cybersecurity role, as well as outside candidates? And can you talk a little bit about the value of apprenticeships in that arena?
Well, we have a huge IT system, as you can imagine, managing all that we have. I don't remember the exact number of employees, but it's hundreds that work in our IT system. So within that, absolutely, we're always looking for talent that we can grow and develop and upgrade into various advanced roles. And we're also looking for people coming in at the bottom end. Just checking the other day, we have a number of empty positions in our IT system that we're trying to recruit. So these are not easy people to find. And I'm going to send Gabriel an application form here in a minute, so that we continue to look for people that can come into these things, because it is a critical area to fill, both from inside as well as from outside.
Yeah. No, it makes sense, right? I imagine that your needs sit at the intersection of cybersecurity technology and also healthcare and understanding health systems. And there's it's a very particular expertise that you need. So when we talk about customization of the program, I could see how this would really benefit the important work that you do. Let me actually move to Heidi. We have a public sector employer here, the county, and public sector employers offer good union jobs with great benefits. Heidi, can you talk about how an IT cybersecurity apprenticeship program will assist your recruitment efforts and create pathways for motivated workers to move into these in-demand roles? And why is it important in the context of the county's workforce development system to participate in this?
Certainly. Apprenticeship programs are largely known for helping employers in a variety of ways. So let me start off by naming just a few, and I think we'll naturally arrive at how this is going to help our county with building a real robust talent pipeline. So first, there's the recognition that apprenticeship models are evidence-based. They have been a proven strategy for a number of years that help employers attract or recruit and then develop a highly skilled workforce. I think you all know that they combine classroom instruction with on-the-job training, and this ensures that at the end of the program, workers have developed the right skill sets that we as employers truly need. And finally, apprenticeships are also known for increasing retention of highly trained workers as it creates a clear path from entry-level positions to higher-level positions. So it supports the employees' skill growth along the way, and then it motivates them to grow and stay, not just at the county, but throughout the employers that you find here in Riverside County. So it truly becomes a win-win. But I just ended up telling you why it would be a good idea for us as employers. But for employees, it also helps them in a variety of ways. You've heard from Alma and Gabriel earlier why this is such a good program to have. But there are so many others there who, by participating in this program, would earn a competitive wage or have access to a real good paying job. They get the necessary education through on-the-job training, learning, and classroom training as well. And then they earn that credential within the industry. And for us, even though we want them, once they've been trained to stay here in the county, it is a credential that becomes portable. So anyone from within the county of Riverside would benefit from having access to someone who's so well trained.
Yeah, Heidi, I so appreciate that. And something that, you said when we spoke before was this idea that, the county, you want to make sure the county's, walking the walk, right? That while you administer workforce innovation and opportunity dollars within the county, which includes pathways like apprenticeships to allow people to get into good jobs that they might not otherwise see as available to them, that you also want to, as an employer, have the county live that out. And that's something that we also believe in really passionately at the state level, right? That what we're asking private employers to do, we want to make sure our own house is in order, right? We want to really be consistent with the model practices that we are asking others to adopt. So thank you. That's great. And I think, we also know, right, through apprenticeships that there is the retention benefit, right? That when we use apprenticeship programs and have apprentices, you develop greater employee loyalty too. I want to talk a little bit about this, to pick up your point about the employer and the employee working together. I know the SEIU and other unions in our state have been really valuable partners in the formation of registered apprenticeship programs, especially in the public sector, but also beyond. Can you talk a little bit about how the county partners with unions to build your robust apprenticeship programs, and how this initiative will help to expand on that?
Sure, and I think that'll also allow me to address the second part of your earlier question, which was to talk about the context of the county's workforce development system. So unions are, representatives are part of our workforce development system. They sit on the board and as such work as a very important partner in how we deliver the services across the county. So we receive and administer WIOA funds, and for those who are not familiar with WIOA, these are funds that are allocated to activities that link resources, people, business, and education that results in a competitive workforce. So part of that system involves promoting apprenticeships as a model that is a valuable model of earn and learn work experience. So our participation as an employer in an apprenticeship truly represents our walking the walk and practicing what we preach across the board to the businesses that we serve here in our county. And in addition, it's not really easy always to understand apprenticeships outside what people traditionally associate with them. And those are the models that you normally see, for example, in the construction industry. But at the same time, when you consider why it makes so much sense in this context, the question really becomes, why not? Why didn't we do this sooner? So we really hope that our participation serves as a model for broader employer participation in apprenticeships in non-traditional sectors, including in other IT areas as well.
That's so wonderful. Yeah, thank you, Heidi. I mean, one distinction that separates registered apprenticeship programs from just internal employer training programs is the availability of dollars that can be tied to registered apprenticeships to assist employers, intermediaries, community-based organizations to launch these programs. I think Stephen mentioned that earlier too as one of the benefits. And the governor mentioned that in his budget, he's making really historic investments in workforce development, including apprenticeships, and the bridge between community colleges and employers and the workforce system to make sure that it all works together. He has a almost $1.1 billion proposal around jobs and economic resilience. Can you talk a little bit about how will this benefit the county as you continue to expand apprenticeships?
Sure. The return on our investment is really expected in terms of retaining a highly trained workforce and therefore in saving on staff turnover. There's built-in increased innovation that happens as a result of these models. And then there's the option to hire talent with our agency-specific knowledge that happens as well. So for us, it's truly a talent investment initiative, and that one we're absolutely proud to support and be a part of.
Thank you so much, Heidi. I said this to all of our employer partners. Those are our 5 employer partners. They're really demonstrating just how, why California is the leader in so many ways, and how when we think about innovation, it's not just about technology, but about how we look at how employers and companies can really build up the entire community that they are part of, and how employers who invest in their workforce, who create quality jobs, who care about people, really make the difference. And so I want to thank you all so much for that. And I want to, and I said this at the beginning too. We could listen to them talk for much longer, and I've had the benefit of having some of those conversations. But I want to also highlight some of our educational partners. I'm really excited and proud to announce that we have educational partners in this program, and 2 of them are here with us today. As industries look to create registered apprenticeship programs with more complex roles that require upper division coursework, developing partnerships with our 4-year academic institutions across the state becomes ever more critical. And so we're just, again, really fortunate about the assets in the Inland Empire. So the Cal State University San Bernardino, or CSU San Bernardino, is a national leader in cybersecurity education and workforce development, leading the 335 colleges and universities that make up the centers of academic excellence in cybersecurity community. It is also home to the NICE, the NICE, NICE Challenge Project, which is a national competency-based virtual cyber range used by more than 400 colleges and high schools to test students' cyber skills and employment readiness for cyber careers. And then we also have Cal Poly Pomona, which serves at the nexus of Los Angeles County, Orange County, and the Inland Empire. And as the nation's most diverse polytechnic university, Cal Poly Pomona is a national leader in preparing career-ready graduates through world-class academic training, unique learn-by-doing experiences, and close integration with a host of industry, public, and community partners. And President Coley, who is here, was also appointed by the governor to his Future of Work Commission, and I was so grateful to be able to work with her closely there. So I'm actually going to start with President Morales. President Tomas Morales, would you please tell us how the apprenticeship partnerships that you are developing with employers like Robert Half and Esri will enhance student outcomes by better preparing them to become security professionals?
Yeah, thank you, Secretary Sue, and congratulations to Alma and Gabriel and for their just incredible motivation and accomplishments, and thank all of our business partners. As the only California State University campus located within the Inland Empire and ranked number 7 in the country among the most transformative colleges for graduating economically disadvantaged students into well-paying jobs, Cal State San Bernardino stands ready to help lead this exciting apprenticeship initiative focused on our region by leveraging our work at the national level, where we have successfully partnered with federal agencies to build a diverse cyber workforce. This apprenticeship initiative is about building on those successes by focusing on our efforts on engaging with our local employers in the region.
No, it's amazing, President Morales. And, apprenticeships really work best, right, when they are paired with, gold standard curriculum and training that's offered through academic institutions like yours. Thank you also for bringing this back to Alma and Gabriel. Alma mentioned that the strong connectivity between the colleges and the employers in the apprenticeship program has really helped her. It's created a supportive framework and environment in which we really kind of put students first. Can you talk about what CSU San Bernardino has planned to help make sure that this happens?
Yeah, at Cal State San Bernardino, we've really taken this challenge head on, including the recent submission of a grant proposal to the National Security Agency to create a national model for apprenticeships starting right here in the Inland Empire. CSUSB has already internally approved programs and apprenticeship programs with partners such as Robert Half and soon with Esri, as well as with 4 other organizations in the Inland Empire. And last week, we signed an MOU with the American Council on Education, or ACE, to develop apprenticeship articulation agreements between companies and colleges throughout the nation. This MOU is part of ACE's Apprenticeship Pathway Initiative, and it will establish a cyber pathway pilot program at Cal State San Bernardino. This will be key to providing unique opportunities for current and aspiring Inland Empire cybersecurity talent. We have already been working with our high school and community college partners to develop a cybersecurity apprenticeship pipeline to grow the cyber talent in the region. And so we're really well positioned and ready to support this innovative regional apprenticeship model to help address the critical needs for more cyber professionals and more diverse cyber professionals in private industry and in the public sectors.
Oh, thank you so much, President Morales. I just want to also acknowledge you. You know, our early conversations about this were, you know, your enthusiasm is so infectious, your leadership, and, you know, again, the
Thank you.
whole idea of assets in the IE, you know, what you've created and what your leadership has brought has been just really extraordinary. And maybe I'll just say one more thing. You've already, you know, really talked about the various partnerships that you have. And I think this, you know, we connected about the desire to retain talent, you know, in the area.
Absolutely.
You know, obviously, you know, we know that there's the various partnerships. There's also the national partnerships that you have. Can you talk a little bit about what your local industry engagement strategy looks like to incentivize more employers in the region to sign on to the Cybersecurity Registered Apprenticeship Program? I mean, it makes sense, right? Because you are educating their workforce. How do you see your role in bringing more employers to the table?
Well, you know, both Kim Wilcox from the University of California, Riverside, and I co-chair the IEEP Educational Council. We work very closely with all of the business partners that you invited today in this launch. Esri, well, all of us, you know, obviously Loma Linda University. Cal State San Bernardino is an anchor institution in Riverside and San Bernardino counties. We're stewards of place. We work very closely. I'm on the executive committee of IEGO, which is really one of our pillars is cybersecurity. As logistics, Logistics Research Center is another one where cybersecurity plays an important role. So we're working very closely both with our community college partners, our high schools, and our business partners to really, this is a really exciting area of growth in the Inland Empire. Thank you to your leadership, Secretary, for really bringing this to our region. Thank you.
Thank you so much, President Morales. Thank you. And now, President Soraya Coley, you have just been an invaluable voice in California on the need to better align our education institutions with workforce needs and to really think about what that looks like, not just now, but into the future. And your leadership at Cal Poly Pomona, you know, you have this cybersecurity collaborative program, and it's really an impressive model for all academic institutions. The other thing we've talked about a lot, and I just, you know, really, we're so grateful in California and fortunate to have your leadership on this, is your institution's commitment to educating a diverse student population. President Morales mentioned this too, and maybe can you start out by talking about your efforts to bring in underserved and including adult learner populations, which is, again, something I've learned so much from you about.
Well, I too want to thank you for your leadership and also that of your staff as this initiative is launched, because I think it addresses such a critical need. And Cal Poly Pomona is extremely pleased to participate in this initiative and to partner with our sister CSU campus. As you know, with the Future of Work Commission, there was a deliberate focus and much attention paid to upskilling and reskilling. And so I think this will be an important contribution towards that overall goal that you and the governor expressed. You know, as I've listened to, and particularly Alma and Gabriel, and thinking about my time in education, many decades, there's one principle that has been proven time and time again, and that is that talent is equally distributed, but opportunity is not. And what I think this does is begin to broadly distribute opportunity. And so when we're talking about engaging and empowering underserved and adult learner populations, I think the real crux of the matter is, how do we find creative ways? How do we find new ways, innovative ways to expand that opportunity? As you know, Cal Poly Pomona was ranked 3rd in the country in terms of social mobility. And we've been proud as the first CSU campus that was designated as a Center for Academic Excellence in Cyber Education by the NSA and the Department of Homeland Security in 2005. And so we've had a number of activities since that time really focused on underserved populations. One of the things that comes to mind is that for over a decade, we've been actively involved in the National Cyber Patriot Program, where our current students work with middle school and high school students from across the region to foster an interest and passion for cybersecurity. Between 2011 and 2014, there were more than 1,000 middle and high school students that participated in the program, and that has since expanded. The other thing is that, you mentioned as Alma was talking around opportunities for moms. And when we discovered in the Cyber Patriot program that only 25% of the participants were female, we started holding what we call Cyber Girls Summits on campus, specifically designed to inspire young women to pursue technology. And so we have continued to work with industry leaders and others, and the adult learner population through our extended education has really been reconceptualized so that we're able to be mindful of what is needed and how do we partner with industry and other institutions so that we can make sure that we work cooperatively and collaboratively.
That's so great. And President Coley, that whole point about, adult learners is obviously also more important than ever, right? In a post-COVID world where so many people are going to be having to, and have the opportunity to, but also having to look at new skills, new jobs, industries that were evolving and now that's been accelerated, and some jobs that are not going to come back. So you're also the polytechnic identity, right? This idea of learning by doing. It really is at the heart of apprenticeship programs. And you also have just, it's infused throughout Cal Poly Pomona's identity. It's the student-run data center. There's career-ready integration with industry through workshops and internships. Can you talk about just the learning by doing concept and how that's complemented by partnering with industry in registered apprenticeships?
Yes, we have, and particularly over the course of this, during this pandemic, we have had regular meetings with industry and nonprofits, other organizations, because we wanted to hear what they thought as with our Future of Work initiative that we have, that we've launched. And what we recognized is that from the point at which students come into Cal Poly Pomona, we need to think about how we not only make sure that they have the knowledge base, but that they've been able to demonstrate that knowledge. They have the theoretical constructs, but they also have the ability to demonstrate that knowledge. And also, and I know there was reference to the soft skills, we call them essential skills at Cal Poly Pomona, so that we're able to integrate those essential skills with that knowledge base and their ability to work in teams, to be able to problem solve, to be able to reflect on, to continually, to have a continuous improvement mindset. And so it starts from day one. And I think that's why our students are particularly attractive to industry and companies, organizations. And so this ability to partner with community colleges and the great work that is happening at CSU San Bernardino, I think we're very pleased to join at this, what we think is a real model for the country in terms of how universities, higher education needs to work much more intentionally in these areas.
So thank you so much. And President Coley, thank you for the gentle reminder. I did learn from you that it's essential skills, not soft skills. Soft skills suggest something either, right? So thank you for that. I absolutely right. And you mentioned the community colleges. So I just wanted to say, the community colleges play a key role in preparing students for transfer and entrance into registered apprenticeship programs. In fact, as an example, 70% of Cal State San Bernardino students come from community colleges, which highlights the importance of community college credentials and linkages to the four-year academic institutions. And also, community colleges have been incredibly valuable, longstanding partners in registered apprenticeship programs across our state for decades. So thank you so much to President Morales and President Coley. I should also mention there are two community colleges who are in this initiative. It's Moreno Valley College, which has a really rich history in building partnerships with local businesses, industries, and school districts. And these partnerships have allowed Moreno Valley College to offer successful and highly sought after programs in allied healthcare, public safety, computer gaming, and business. And we heard Alma's own story about how life-changing that was for her. And then Riverside City College, which serves a diverse community of learners by offering certificates, degrees, and transfer programs that help students achieve their educational and career goals. And this includes a commitment to improve students and communities' social and economic mobility. Again, President Coley's point about the importance of economic mobility is really so critical here. And Riverside City College has made that a priority as well. And our last speaker is actually a longtime friend to our work at the state, a really critical presence in the Inland Empire. And this is Charles Henkels, the director of the Launch Apprenticeship Network. And Launch is serving as our apprenticeship intermediary for this consortium, for this regional cybersecurity apprenticeship initiative. So Charles, it's such a privilege to be here with you and to be able to partner with you on this project. And I'm wondering if you could actually first just answer a basic question. What is an apprenticeship intermediary? What do you provide for employers and job seekers? Why do we need an apprenticeship intermediary?
Great. Well, thanks so much, Julie, and thanks to all the participants today. And I couldn't honestly. I also would just want to say there's about 200 people in this region that I think have played a unique role in putting this together. And so this is a big day, and I'm really honored to be a part of it. So the Launch Network, the big idea is that we bring together folks in our region from different agencies that really combine years of apprenticeship, years of college, years of workforce development experience, all with the goal to tie this initiative to local resources and local partners. So I think what we've observed is that, our region has this ecosystem of talent development, like none of what we're trying to accomplish in this initiative will happen in isolation. So for example, the businesses, they're not just consumers of talent, but they're really creating talent, developing it. They're not clients, they're really contributors, partners. Or even look at the students and the career builders. They're not just choosing a major, right? They're not just choosing a training program. It's more personal than that. What they're doing is they're really pursuing experiences. They're making choices about what they think is going to improve their life. And they don't make that choice just once. It's a daily thing. And so what an apprenticeship intermediary does is it works to create really a practical mechanism, a practical way for individuals and organizations that are in this ecosystem to participate in this initiative. So, it's one thing if we all agree in the concept, right? Like that this is a good idea and a good way to develop cybersecurity professionals. But it's a whole other thing to form practical partnerships that really create that bridge and that conduit for all these micro connections that we need. And I think that's what's new here, right? And so, for example, just to, kind of put it aside, but, an example, if I'm a small business and I'm watching this group, for a second, I might assume, oh, I'm counted out. I don't have 1,000 employees in this region or anything like that. Like only big businesses participate in apprenticeship. And that's just what an intermediary is for. It helps businesses, whether they can train one apprentice or 100 apprentices, really plug into that system. And then for the students, to answer that part of your question, if I'm Gabriel or I'm Alma, I'm not really sure where the starting point is. And it can be really difficult to navigate a bunch of job descriptions or companies that are on the internet. It's difficult to find these kinds of opportunities. And so an intermediary gives students and job seekers a way to really announce their intent, right? It gives them the ability to speak to the industry and say, hey, I'm coming, get ready for me, right? So we have, almost 60 K through 12 districts in this region, 12 community colleges, 3 public universities, 2 county offices of education, 2 workforce boards. And so an intermediary's role is really to help streamline, right? And focus those resources, take advantage of the infrastructure that's already there. And we just don't want to leave our users, our businesses and our students left to have to figure all that out all on their own.
Yeah, no, thank you, Charles. And you addressed something so important that I was going to ask you about, and thank you for saying it. It's the role that you can play in helping small and maybe some mid-sized employers who have different challenges, right? And who may not have the bandwidth to develop, deploy, and run a registered apprenticeship program. Your role there is just really, really key. And our hope is that by creating this regional initiative, that we also make it easier for smaller employers who may have fewer resources of their own to participate and take advantage, and therefore also expand more opportunities for students and job seekers and employees. So thank you so much for saying that. I think, Charles, maybe the last thing I'll just ask you, because it kind of brings it full circle to this idea, and certainly the governor's vision about regional systems alignment, right? That we want, as the state, to really promote, protect, preserve, support the ability of regions to make decisions for themselves, to grow and to develop and to create strong linkages among all the different assets, the players in that industry. And you are such a key part of that. Why is it important to have an apprenticeship intermediary who is located in the region?
Yeah, well, it's a great question. And I think I want to compliment all of the community colleges. That's a system I've been a part of, for about 5 years. And back in 2018, I always say that the community colleges in Riverside and San Bernardino kind of saw this moment coming. And the reason they saw it coming was they saw all these partners, industry partners, businesses in the area, students, schools that were really ready to do professional development in this way, and just needed a resource, needed an answer to, hey, how do we get a program started, or how do we figure out how this apprenticeship thing works? And so they made an investment back in 2018 to fund a regional intermediary, and I think that was back at a time when no one knew just what that meant. But what it did was it allowed us, like I said, to kind of bring all these different agencies, all these different public systems and school districts, really kind of put them into a network in a way where, one business could tap into 12 community colleges, or, one student could find they had choices among different pathways, and they weren't just limited to, just what was right in front of them that day. And so I think, with the regional intermediary aspect, we have a real local connection to the users of the system. And so I think that's really what gives us, really the strength and the ability to do what we do.
That's so fantastic. And also, it's the ability to be nimble, right? And to evolve with changing needs and circumstances. And we've certainly obviously seen in the last year how important that is. So thank you so much, Charles. I want to thank everybody again, for really driving home this point that the governor and I, and all of us really in the administration really talk about a lot. California is a diverse state with tremendous assets in each region, and we need to invest in regional solutions to meet regional challenges and take advantage of regional assets. So this is the first, but not the only regional apprenticeship initiative that we plan to build. And we look forward to working with employers to meet your needs, work with educators, with labor, with community-based organizations to scale this effort by taking advantage of a regional model that really leverages workforce systems and alliances, that really braids together all the valuable dollars that are out there and utilize it for the kinds of equity, inclusion, economic growth, economic strength, and really, how do we make lives better kinds of challenges that we face. Our state is confronting a monumental challenge. We have almost 70,000 cybersecurity roles across California. And so these are, again, really good jobs. We have the need and the opportunity to create pathways to those jobs, again, especially for those who might not even think about it, might not know about it, might not have all the resources. So how do we bring resources to individuals and communities who would otherwise be left out? And how do we partner with these leading employers who are really, as you heard today, invested in doing right, doing good, and recognize that what's good for business is also good for the communities and the individuals in their communities. So on the slide, you're seeing there's an email address where you can actually contact apprenticeship and workforce innovation staff directly to discuss getting involved in this apprenticeship or developing one in your own region. So thank you all so much for taking the time to join us today to hear how this initiative is just one of many steps that are being taken by the governor and all of our partners across the region to help California come roaring back from this pandemic. Thank you all.